Hey, what's up guys? Got another video on this 2014 Ford Edge Sport. Gonna be replacing the PTU fluid, pretty much the transfer case fluid, and then also the rear differential oil as well. Okay guys, so to do this job, we're gonna have to jack it up so we can get up underneath here. So I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the front end here. I'm gonna get my jack and then jack right on this frame support here on the front, and then we can put our jack stands up. Next, go ahead and grab a couple jack stands. We're going to put them right underneath the pinch weld here. I already did the other side there. We'll go ahead and lower that. So now with that front end on jack stands, you can see the vehicle is not going to be level. So what I'm going to do is I got a couple more jack stands. I'm going to jack up the rear end just to bring it back to where it would be if it was sitting on the ground. And that'll give us a little better access to the rear diff as well. So go ahead and crawl underneath the rear end here, and if you look, you can see your rear differential is right past the exhaust here. So I'm going to go ahead and use our jack up on the rear differential, then we'll get our two jack stands on the back side here. And then just kind of the same thing, get your jack stand set up back here. It's about like that. Let's go ahead and lower it. Now, as you can see, that's sitting a little bit more level like it should be. Okay, so go ahead and crawl underneath the front here, and your PTU is going to be right here. You can see the passenger side CV axle goes into it. And then if you look up there, that's going to be the, it's considered the fill and drain plug. So there is no drain plug on this. We're going to have to siphon out the old fluid, and then we'll fill it there as well. So let's go ahead and remove that plug, which is going to be a 3/8 ratchet. Figure out the best way to get up in there. So I think the best way of getting that off and up in there is to come around the back side here, and then you can get your ratchet back up in there. So let me go ahead and reposition myself here. So like I said, I'm trying to get you guys the best angle here. It's kind of hard, but I'm going to reach just on the back side of this exhaust and this cross member here. Get your 3/8 ratchet up in there. Go ahead and loosen up that plug. Once you get it broken free, it should come out easy by hand here. So just like that. Okay guys, so the way I'm going to try and do this is I got this OEM Tools extraction pump, and it's going to be part number 25443. I got this off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for it. But what I'm going to try to do is stick this down in there. Hopefully it's going to be long enough and small enough, and then I'll go ahead and try and suck some of that old fluid out of there. So let's see if this is going to work or not. I'm going to try to get it fed up through here. Kind of hard to see, but there's just no way of getting your hands up in there is the hard part. So kind of get this fed up through there. See if I can reach around here. See if you get that kind of fed up in there. So get it kind of down in there, and you'll feel it kind of stop there. So then I'll go ahead and use my other hand here. Let's see if we can suck some of this out of here. See, it's starting to fill up there. Just keep pulling on that. until it kind of stops there. So then I'll pull this out of here. Like I said, it's really tight in here. So if you can get your line out of here. Pull this out of there. And I'll go ahead and empty this into drain pan really quick. Okay, so I went ahead and emptied that in there, and then just make sure this tube's clean before you stick it back down in there. And actually that came undone here. So get that put back into place. Do the same thing again. Just see if there's any more left in there. And let's go ahead and get my arm out of here. And let's see if we can suck any more out of that. And it looks like that's about all we're going to get out of it. So let's go ahead and pull this back out of here. Just like that. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and see how much we pulled out of here. You can see it's not very much, but I looked at the owner's manual and it calls for 12 ounces is all for the whole PTU unit. So I got this bottle here, it's 10 ounces, and I'm just kind of curious. Let's see how much we actually pulled out of there with that extractor pump there. So I'll go ahead and just drain this into here. And you can, this stuff just smells like, normally you know what gear oil smells like. This just smells really burnt. It's because that PTU unit is between the exhaust and all that, so it just builds up with heat and it probably starts to burn this gear oil here. So you can see it'd take a little bit longer for it to drain down in there, so there's still quite a bit in the pan here. But let me just wipe this off. So if you take a look here, you can see, so that, like I said, that's 10 ounces. So we're maybe half of that. So I'd say around 5 ounces or a little more once all this was able to drain down. So you can see, because what it calls for, and I got a quart of this, 75/140, and I got this off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for it. But yeah, so I think what I'm going to do, I mean, that's better than nothing. But what I'm going to try, because like I said, it's so hard to get my hands up there and then record everything. So I'm going to try using this again, but I found a little bit longer tube that I had laying around. So let me go ahead and try and see if I can get any more out of that. If not, we'll go ahead and just start adding the new fluid. Okay guys, so I was able to get actually quite a bit more out of there using this longer tube. And it's actually a lot more flexible too. So let me go ahead and see. Just take this off of here. Let's just see how much came out of here. So go ahead and push this down into here. So if you see that right there, that's going to be 10 ounces. I don't want to overflow this, so you can see I still got a little bit left here, so go ahead and push the rest of this into there. And I'd say that's probably right around 12, maybe 11 ounces or so. So I'm going to call that good. So if you guys get this pump here, maybe just run by your local hardware store and see if you can find another piece of tubing. Like I said, I just had this laying around, but if you can find another one this size that's longer and more flexible, then you can add that to the end of this, stick it down in there and get a little more out of it. So like I said, this calls for 75-140 rear axle lubricant, pretty much for the PTU. And like I said, it takes 12 ounces. And the way I'm going to put it in is with this little pump here. So I can stick the tube on there, tube will go down in there, and then I can just kind of pump this up into the PTU unit. Okay guys, so like I said, Ford calls for this 75-140 in the PTU unit. And then I got this little, it's called the Slippery Pete pump. I got this off Amazon, I'll put a link in the description. But you add this tube to the end here, and you can stick it down in there, and then we can go ahead and just start pumping the fluid up into the PTU unit. So go ahead and crawl underneath here. Like I said, get your pump bottle ready. And then you'll also want a drain pan there, because what we're going to do is pump this in there until it starts flowing out. Then you know to stop, and then we'll let it level off to the bottom of the fill hole there. So just go ahead and get this up in there. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. If not, you kind of get the idea. Try and get this fed into the hole there. Kind of going off field here. There it is. So get that fed up in there, kind of like that. Then it kind of holds itself in there. Now we'll go ahead and start pumping here. And you can see just how clear that new stuff is compared to that old stuff that came out that was pretty much black. So just keep pumping until it runs out of there. Okay. So you can see it's starting to run out of there. Just go a little more just to make sure. So just like that. So now let's go ahead and get your tube out of there. Then, like I said, we'll go ahead and just let that drain until it gets down to just pretty much a really slow drip. And so while you're waiting for that to finish draining out, you can take your drain or fill plug here. You can see how dirty this one is. This is just a magnet. So what you want to do, just go ahead and wipe this off really good with a rag. Get that all nice and clean. You can see there was quite a bit of debris on that one. That's just really nasty. So actually what I think, I'm going to take a screwdriver because a lot of this stuff is pretty hard. So I'm going to take a screwdriver and see if I can get this cleaned up a little better. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned that up really good, and you can see that looks a lot better. That stuff was just dried on there. Like I said, because this is just produces so much heat around this. That's why you want to do this pretty often, changing this out. I think it's every 30,000 miles you want to do it. And now I'm going to take some of this thread sealant here, and I'll go ahead and put some of this on the fill plug here, and we should be ready to go ahead and put that on next. Okay, so you can see I got my thread sealant on here. So now let's go ahead and get this plug back up in there. Get that kind of started. And grab our wrench. And then grab your wrench. And let's go ahead and get this snug. And this wasn't on there very tight, so I'm going to kind of go the same way it was. Like I said, and it got that thread sealant on there to kind of help as well. So like I said, just kind of get it snug, kind of like that. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of wipe as much of this oil off that drip down as you can. Once you start warming everything up, it's going to start probably smoking on you. Just burning that off the exhaust. But just take you some brake clean here if you can. And I'm just going to kind of spray. So now we'll go ahead and move on to the rear. Alright, so now on to the rear here. And this is going to be a lot easier to get to, unlike the PTU. But it's set up the same way, so there's going to be no drain plug. You just got to extract it out of the fill plug. And again, that's going to be a 3/8. So let's go ahead and remove that. There's that. And you can see that one's kind of just like the PTU. Got a bunch of shavings and everything on it. Okay guys, so since this black tube worked pretty good on the PTU, I'm going to reuse it. And let's see how much we can get out of this rear diff with it. So I'll try to get it up in here. Try to feed that down as much as you can. And let's just try that. And let's see how much we can get out of here. So let me pull this out and go ahead and empty it. Okay guys, so I didn't really get much out of that. Almost acted like it was clogged or something, so I put my white tube back on here again. Let's just see how much I get out of this real quick. And you gotta kind of curve it down in here. So you got to get it just right in there. And try just curving it here. There we go. So I can really only go in about that much with this tube. May have to switch back to that other one. You see that came off there. Let's pull this one back out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep repeating this process here, and then I'll show you here at the end. We'll see how much came out of here. Just put this in my drain pan here. Okay guys, so I probably did it about maybe 5-6 times, and this is about all I could get out of there. So got this empty oil jug here. I'm gonna see how much came out, just to kind of do the same thing here. So go ahead and empty this into here. And this stuff's a lot harder to extract out of there, I think, just because it's thicker than that 75-140 that was in the PTU. So I'll try to get as much of this as I can. Like I said, it's just a lot thicker, so it's really, you can see how much just kind of sticks in the bottom of this. If you take a look here, you can see, so I pulled out just shy of 1 quart, and the manual states this takes about 1.4 quarts. And it's this Motorcraft 80W90 premium rear axle. I got 2 quarts of it, so I may not actually need the 2nd quart here. So let me just see if I can get maybe just a little more out of that. Let's see if I can extract any more out of it. Okay guys, so I went and tried again and was not able to get much more out of it. So like I said, I'm just a little shy of maybe 1 quart is all that I was able to get out. So if you guys do this, let me know in the comments if you guys are able to get more out of that, or I'm curious if maybe it was just low on oil. I guess we'll find out. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to use my slippery Pete again. Go ahead and slip this into the 80-90 rear axle quart here, and we'll go ahead and start pumping that in and see how much it takes. Okay guys, so I got my drip pan under there ready, and then got my pump on here. If you guys didn't want to use this pump, these do come with this style cap, so you could always just snip it and then put a piece of tubing on there and then kind of hold it up and squeeze it in there if you wanted to. I find the pump just a little bit more easier. And as you can see, this one doesn't fit on the quart bottle. It's for a smaller bottle, but I'll put a link in the description for the quart size one. So now we'll go ahead and get this up in here. So kind of like that. Now we'll go ahead and start pumping here. And again, we'll just go until it starts coming out of the fill hole there. Okay guys, so right there you can see it starting to flow out of there. Just pump a little more here, just to make sure. Go ahead and pull this out of here. Then I'll go ahead and just let that drain until it gets down to just a single drip there. And then again, in the meantime, while you're letting that drain, you can go ahead and get your fill plug all cleaned up, get all that nasty junk off of there. Okay guys, you can see that's just down to a single drip now. And I went ahead and got my fill plug all cleaned up here. So again, I'll take some the thread sealant and go ahead and rub this on the fill plug threads. Then once you get your thread sealant on, let's go ahead and replace this fill plug here. And we'll go ahead and get that snugged up. Again, just get it pretty snug. Don't want to over tighten it, but you don't want it to be loose either. Kind of like that. And then go ahead and just take you some brake clean again. Just like that. So now we can go ahead and take our jack and go ahead and jack up under the rear diff again. Get our jack stands out of here. And then of course, same thing on the front here. Okay guys, so that's gonna be it for the video. Again, this was a 2014 Ford Edge Sport all-wheel drive. Went ahead and replaced the PTU fluid along with the rear axle gear oil. And if I show you here real quick, you can see I actually filled just a little less than a quart into that rear end, which is exactly what I was able to extract out of that. So like I said before, let me know in the comments if you guys are able to extract out a little more than that. But that was all I was able to get out of it. So hopefully this video helps you out. If it does, why don't you subscribe to my channel, check out all my other videos. I got quite a few on this car, so check those out if you're interested. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.